Yeah. What's going on, y'all? It is your boy, Tyler A. Gates, a.k.a. Tagline 205, and we are here on Millions once again for a action-packed weekend. Thank you so much for joining me. As usual, every weekend, it is going to be the spotlight of the show. We have so much packed for you in this episode. I'm going to talk about, one, the Millions.co fight that's streaming on Millions and DirecTV as well. Daniel Garcia versus Daniel Gonzalez. Two daddies going against each other. One final time for Daniel Garcia as he says farewell to Brooklyn. We're going to get into that October 18th, which is today. Don't miss it. It is streaming live on Millions and DirecTV. We're also going to get into my college football predictions. We are also going to get to my scores as well. And I'm going to talk about the one team I don't love to talk about outside of the Mets and the Phillies, and that's the Dodgers. Ohtani, the brother's been magic. But we're going to get into that right now. And as always, thank you guys for supporting the channel. Thank you guys for supporting me and Millions.co. Thank you to Millions.co for allowing me to use their streaming platform as always. And let's jump right into this. The first segment that we're going to get into, we're going to talk about the ALCS. Game 5. And I can't believe that the manner that it happened is not shocking. When we're talking about Eugenio Suarez, we're talking about one of the best third basemen probably of this era. Consistent. Like, when you're referring to him and you see what his career has on the Cincinnati Reds, right? We've seen him in Arizona. We've seen him in Seattle prior to returning to Seattle at the trade deadline. We've seen these things. We see how consistent he has been throughout his career. 30 home runs one season and 40 home runs the next season. He's the reason why the Mariners could go to the World Series. Let me put this to rest right now. Julio Rodriguez is the face of the franchise. As much as I love Cal Raleigh, and yes, he's second. Yes, he's the co-star. But when we're talking about the face of the franchise, who it runs through, who is going to have to win them the World Series, Julio Rodriguez has to step up if they want to win the World Series. He must. Yes, he's struggling, but they're one win away. And before I get into the Blue Jay side of it, that grand slam that Eugenio Suarez hit, yeah. That grand slam essentially put them in position to win this ALCS. I mean, we can talk about the pitching, right? And that was in the 8th inning. We could talk about key moments, how Kyle Raleigh tied the game up prior to Eugenio Suarez hitting that home run. We could also talk about how Toronto went 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. 2 for 11? Really? Really? So where was this struggle against New York? I think that's what I want to understand, right? Number 3, the Mariners, who have never been to the World Series, right? We have to regain the offensive focus if you're Toronto to stop them from going. I'm not a Toronto fan. You guys know I have my favorite teams, right? Outside of being a diehard Braves fan, Braves country, by the way. I have the Rockies, I have the Rays, I have the Mariners. Those are my teams that I support. So it would be territorial to see the Seattle Mariners in the World Series against the Dodgers, who I'm about to get to right now, who actually just punched their ticket to the World Series. But before we move on to that, I want to talk about how winning on the road is so important for Toronto. I want to talk about how they were down 2-0 and came back. George Springer was the main reason why, let's be honest. And now he's injured, getting hit by that pitch, gonna charge the mound. We saw it. The same thing almost happened in Dodgers Brewers game last night, where they could have charged the mound, but they didn't, right? Let's change the narrative around. Momentum swings matter. Quote that. Momentum swings matter. Don't be surprised if Toronto extends this to Game 7, which I feel like is going to happen. Yes, I have the Mariners winning the series, but I don't think they're going to win this in 6. I never thought the Mariners or the Blue Jays, rather, were going to beat each other in convincing fashion because there's two evenly teams. They're two even teams, right? And we can debate this too with this debate question right here. Is the Blue Jays window still open? Or is the Mariners momentum too strong? I want you to leave that down below in the comment section. Are the Mariners too strong, or is the Blue Jays window still open? Now, the one team I don't want to talk about is the LA Dodgers. Now, they swept the NLCS, which I didn't see coming. Maybe 6, maybe 7, but 4 straight. Yo, Milwaukee, man, we have to have a conversation. Jackson Terrio, it's not all your fault, right? You can't carry a franchise as a 22-year-old. I ain't blaming you, all right? But there's some people to blame. There are some people to blame on the Brewers side. Let's talk about the pitching. You don't pitch to the man on the screen. You don't pitch to Shohei Ohtani. Walk him. He is not a good base runner. He's not a good base runner, y'all. It literally probably the best performance we've ever seen from a baseball player in the playoffs ever happened last night. And yes, it saddens me to say, but Shohei Ohtani might be the greatest baseball player of all time. Even though I'm a big Hank Aaron fan, right? The greatest Atlanta Braves to ever do it. And I feel like Hank Aaron is the best baseball player to ever play the game. But Shohei Ohtani might pass him just due to his two-way skills. And on top of that, the brother hits 50-plus home runs a season. So you look at the stat sheet, you look at the analytics, and you can't break down that and tell me we're not going to pitch to this guy? I mean, hello? And then I'm reading here in my notes. You guys pitched to him 3 times. 3 times? And mind you, all 3 went out of the park. It was no doubters, mind you. You should be ashamed of yourselves, Milwaukee. You should be ashamed of yourself. 1, your offense stalled historically, right? 2, poor batting averages across the board. We're not gonna blame Jackson Terrio, like I said, even though he has some things to work on, but he's still young. He cannot carry a franchise. Hey, I can call out some names, but I'm not gonna do it because we gotta get better, Milwaukee. You just let the Dodgers essentially run all over you, right? And now we're sitting here as baseball fans having to deal with this again. They're back in the World Series. They may be back next year too. This is going to give them the trophy this year, right? But I don't think they're going to win this year. I believe that the Seattle Mariners are going to beat them. I believe the Toronto Blue Jays are going to beat them. Whoever out of those 2 teams wins in the ALCS, I do believe we'll take the Dodgers to 7 games, and I do believe we'll take the Dodgers down in the World Series. Now, discussion points. I want to get to this. How dominant are the Dodgers? Are they building a dynasty? Absolutely. It saddens me to say, but I feel like it's coming. I personally don't feel like it's going to happen, but is it building towards that? No doubt about it, right? Number 2, with Ohtani as a two-way force, how do other teams game plan against him? Easy. You walk him on the base. You don't let him hit. You intentionally walk him, right? He's not a great base runner whatsoever. He's not. He's not. And when it comes to pitching, if you look at the analytics, if you look at the stat sheet, if you look at the pitch count, right? If you look on the pitch quadrant, his fastballs get strike more people out than any other pitches he has. So what does that show you? Don't swing at the fastball because essentially it's going to be out the zone, right? And for the Brewers, what went wrong? I'm curious to understand and know, where did this go wrong? We can beat the Cubs, though, right? I'm just curious. You have the number 1 seed and beat the Cubs, right? But now, I'm not blaming them for not beating the Dodgers because the Dodgers are just overpowered and it needs to be investigated. I'm just being honest. It does. At some point, this needs to be investigated. Let's be completely 100%. The same way they want to do the Astros bad and investigating them for stealing signs. How are they getting this constant inflow of money? I just want to know how the inflow and the influx of money and cash flow is coming to the Los Angeles Dodgers organization. Please, somebody tell me that. How do you have enough? They got to be in debt. They got to be in the negatives. Moving on. We'll talk about them later. Moving on to one of the best segments. Tyler A's score predictions, guys. Yes, I have my scores. And yes, these are predictions. And yes, some of them may come true, some of them may not. Hey, we're just hitting them on the head. Nebraska versus Minnesota lost. See. I'm excited about that Minnesota football team up there, the Golden Gophers. I'm excited that Nebraska got brought down to size just a little bit. Not saying that he wanted to be Patrick Mahomes, Dylan Raiola, but when you score 2 field goals against Minnesota, that's not really a Big Ten team, even though they're a Big Ten team, if you get what I mean. That's a big yikes. And you guys expect to win a national championship. This is not the late 90s. This is not the 90s, baby. This is not 2000. 2001, 2000. This is not the late 90s, early 2000s for Nebraska. It ain't going to get like that unless you snap out of it. Matt Rule, he might have to go too. You scored 6 points against Minnesota. Really? Disgusting. Disgusting. Right, we're going to get into the scores. Vanderbilt, LSU. 21-20. That's what I have. Vanderbilt winning. Diego Pavia, we know what he can do. He almost beat Alabama by himself, basically. Obviously had the corresponding pieces, some of the co-stars, etc. But he almost beat him by himself this year. Beat him last year, right? But this time against LSU, what is he going to do? I need Garrett Nussmeier to step up and show why he's a potential top 10, top 15 pick, first-round quarterback. Hasn't showed that. That's why you lost to Ole Miss, right? I want to see that improvement. Georgia Tech versus Duke. I have those Yellow Jackets winning 23-19. Duke, we understand they're going through something as well as North Carolina, which I'm about to get to in a minute. Georgia Tech, they're clearly the best team in the ACC because what happened to Miami last night? Oh, boy. I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get to y'all. But 23-19, Georgia Tech. Oklahoma and South Carolina. Essentially, these schools have a little history, right? With the whole Spencer Rattler transfer situation, if you look back at it. But 20-13, Oklahoma's way. They're going to bounce back after losing to Texas. Texas needed that win, obviously, after losing to Florida. We understand that Arch Manning is him. We understand that Lenora Snell is also him. But how can Oklahoma become the team to be in the SEC? It ain't going to happen no time soon, but how can they become a team or the team? You start by getting statement wins like this against the mid-tier, lower-tier SEC teams. That's what you do. You win in conference, right? Welcome to the SEC. This is not the Big 12 anymore. Welcome. Anyway, right? Indiana and Michigan State. I got Indiana obviously winning. They've been on a roll. They're going to make the college football playoffs regardless. They're probably going to go to the semifinals. They're not going to make the national championship. And if they do, they're getting spanked. Respect. Michigan State, it's Michigan State, right? Now, we're getting to Oregon State and Wisconsin, the favorite, right? Everybody says that I'm going with Wisconsin. Everybody says that. No. I surprisingly have those Beavers winning. I don't know why. I don't know why. Right? When you talk about an upset possible to happen, right? Um, Wisconsin has a chance to beat Ohio State. When you talk about the opportunity that can come upon them to beat Ohio State and knock them off that number one pedestal, they have the tools necessary. Not Nebraska, Wisconsin. But the Buckeyes ain't losing. Not for a while, unfortunately. 23-10 Buckeyes. Jeremiah Smith is too much. Then they got Chris Henry Jr. coming next year. Big yikes for the rest of the I mean, come on. The only game I'm worried about for Ohio State if they lose is going to be Michigan because Michigan knows them very well. So, moving on, Texas A&M and Arkansas, 33-20. Nothing more to say there. Texas A&M has been a great team. Arkansas is going to give them a run for their money. UAB versus Memphis. I can go on for days about this matchup, but we're going to give it to UAB because the Blazers have been on a hot roll. Oh, we're also going to talk about my boys down there at Texas Tech, changing your logo. I like that. It looks very business right? You want to start moving into a business perspective. So 19-13 over Arizona. Texas Tech needs to get back on track. They want to start winning games so they can try to make a run. That's what you're going to do. Arizona is just Arizona. They're known for basketball, right? Hopefully they don't get knocked off. Washington State going to beat Virginia. Easy. Oregon versus Rutgers. It's a big game. I got Oregon obviously bouncing back after losing to Indiana because they shouldn't have lost to Indiana. Texas versus Kentucky. I have 27-10. Those Longhorns are going to blow the mess out of the Wildcats. And then my last game is Notre Dame versus USC. I want this to be, other than Georgia and Ole Miss, I want this to be the game of the day. And I want Notre Dame to make it competitive. If they lose today, their season is over. It needs to be done. We're tired of giving them chances to make the college football playoffs. And I love Marcus Freeman. That ain't his fault. Marcus Freeman needs to leave. CJ Carr, Jeremiah Love, especially Jeremiah Love. I think he's might go to the draft next year. But Marcus Freeman, love to see him in Florida. I would love to see him on my coaching staff. James Franklin got fired from Penn State, Georgia. Bring him in. Right? I said it the moment he got fired. I said, hey, love Bobo, but we can use somebody like a James Franklin. Straight up. Now, to the big games, only 3. Mizzou, Auburn, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Tennessee, Alabama. You guys already know what I'm about to say. You know what's coming. When I try to trust them, they will never, ever come through. Alabama's losing tonight. Okay? It always happens. It always happens. They're going to lose to Tennessee in the same fashion. 24-27, Tennessee's winning by a field goal. I'm sorry. But it's just funny to know what's coming. Okay? Alabama fans don't know. We're thinking we're going to the national championship with Todd Simpson, right? It's not happening. I seen the vision. I know what's coming. Mizzou, Auburn, right? 20-17. I have Mizzou. And then, of course, the best team in college football, the most underrated team in college football, those Georgia Bulldogs, because we are dogs. It's who's that coming down the track? Come on now. Hey, look, guys, I want you to clip this. I want you to clip this right here. When I say that we're going to teach Ole Miss a good lesson, it's going to be a close game, but we're going to teach them a lesson, okay? Jackson Dart is no longer on your squad. You no longer have the weapons that you have. You no longer have the offensive line that you had last year and the past 2 years before that, okay? You haven't faced a juggernaut like us. The only juggernaut you faced was LSU, and they're not proven to be a juggernaut. You see this right here? You see this? This is a juggernaut. This is the best team in college football. This is the most underrated squad in college football. Just because we lost to Alabama, people want to say, oh, we're done. We're done. It's Alabama. They always play their best against us because they know that if we they know that if they face us in a bigger game, we're more likely to win that bigger game. Shall I go back to 2022? See, whenever we face Alabama, it's always the referees that get involved and make sure we don't win. People want to say the same thing about Georgia versus Auburn last year when that fumble on the goal line last week. No, and no. Georgia had a better defense. They knew what to do and punched the ball out. Take better care of the ball, Auburn. You won't lose, right? Brings up my question before we move on to the promotion here. Can we please beat Alabama today, Tennessee? I'm rooting for you guys. I have no hatred towards Tennessee, and Georgia fans may look at me like I'm stupid. I have no hatred towards them because we beat them up. We beat them on them every year. We win in convincing fashion sometimes. Yes, it was a close game this year, obviously, but still, I have remorse for Tennessee fans. Okay, they do us a favor every year. We just got to capitalize on the favor. They beat Tennessee. Florida State did us a favor. The Vanderbilt almost did us a favor. Mizzou almost did us a favor. I need Tennessee to do one more favor for me. Give them another loss. They have 2 losses, right? I just hope and pray. I hope and pray that they lose one more game so I can just see them going home and we coast to the playoffs. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I'm asking for. Now, into my final segment, Millions.co. Once again, thank you guys for allowing me to stream on this platform, this opportunity to get reps in for my experience. And we are going to bless them by talking about probably the biggest fight that it's one of the most anticipated fights in the last decade for people that actually know boxing. Garcia, Gonzalez, streaming live on the platform of Millions.co and DirecTV. It is today at the Barclays Center, as you can probably see below. Brooklyn, New York. Not Manhattan. I said Brooklyn. Not the Garden. I said Barclays. Right? Not the home of those trash Knicks. The home of the Nets. Okay? The promising Brooklyn Nets, by the way. Gonna get into in another video, but I want to talk about this fight briefly before we go off air here. So, Danny Garcia, obviously we know him, right? 34-7, 21 KOs. I have in my notes here. He's taking on Danny Gonzalez's 22-4-1 with 7 KOs and what is being billed as Garcia's farewell to the city of Brooklyn. Now, I want people to understand something about this fight. Starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 Pacific. Watching this fight will give you chills. For one, it's emotional on every level possible. Danny Garcia has had one of the better careers of all time. Underrated for sure. Gonzalez, I mean, you know, he's getting there. But nothing like the original DG. Trust me. It's a veteran showdown, obviously with 2 skilled fighters. We understand that Garcia is heavily favored, and I have no favorite because both of these guys are basically my companions. Have not met them as of yet, but both of these guys are well respected in their industry. I do believe that when we talk about the mid card of Millions pay-per-view today, leading up to this main event, it's one of the better mid cards we've seen in a while, right? The call to action will clearly B, don't miss out. It's a blockbuster, right? And the talking point that I want to hit on before we close this out here, the fallout after the fight. What's going to be next for both of these brothers right here? What's going to be next for both of them? Promotion legacy, number one, is something that I think about. But the Brooklyn send-off is going to be something special, win or loss. I want both of these brothers to go out here and show why Millions.co, number one, is the platform to be on. Number two, DirecTV, thanking them. I want to show why Brooklyn, New York should be the center for boxing pay-per-views. And when we discuss these two brothers on the screen, it should be no rivalry. It should be no fierce hatred. These are just two great boxers going at it in the square circle, in the ring, one more time. So thank you guys so much for joining me live. I will have this up on the Millions at 11, because it's always 11, right? So make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram if you have not already. Make sure to do that. It's Tyler A. Gates on every platform, basically. Millions.co. You can find my bio on there. You can read my abouts on the Millions.co website. Thank you guys so much for allowing me another opportunity to come on here. You know who it is. It's your boy, Tyler Gates. It's the analyst. It's your guy. Tag 52050 Millions. And hey, I'm going, man. Peace. Thank you guys so much. And we out.